I'm a grown-up playing video games.
Sure.
But anyway, so Dying Light, 7 out of 10.
We gave it a 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, a good game, not a great game, but a good time killer. So let's go to the next segment. I'm excited about this one. Why don't you talk about this one, Gil?
Yeah, so this is what we're calling Bloom Room. Cue the Bloom Room graphic. So this is crazy music for Bloom Room. It seems like Secret Agent Steve Bloom is running away from you and needing to kill everyone that's around. So this is what Steve Bloom is doing this week or has done previous weeks. So this is a recorded message from Steve Bloom.
But back it up for a minute. Steve Bloom is...
Oh, yeah, excuse me. So if you're not aware, Steve Bloom is the voice of Tom and has been for a decade
10
plus.
10 years.
And I actually had not met, despite talking on the phone with him for over a decade, I had not met him in person until probably a year or two, when he came from Omicron, whenever that was. I guess a year and a half ago. Almost 2 years ago. Very sweet man, very nice, very generous of his time with us, and very willing to have fun with us and the fans. So this was just a try to have a look of what Steve is doing or has been doing out in the world, because he does cool stuff and he's at conventions a lot, and this will be sort of that.
So he made this for us.
Yeah, so he recorded this piece for you guys to sort of give you a look into his world.
So this week, off the microphone, I took a little trip to a place called JPL, which stands for... it's this right here, Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, where my buddy Matt Mercer arranged for a tour with his pal, Bobak Ferdowski, who is the Mohawk guy from the Mars rover landing. President Obama pointed him out in the video from Mission Control when they were actually landing the Mars rover. Bobak is a really great guy. He is a genius engineer and gave us a personal tour through JPL. And took us to places that I never thought I'd get to see in my lifetime. I've always seen pictures of them. First of all, here's one of the mission control room, the actual main place, where they call it the center of the universe. And there's a story behind that. I don't want to give that away because hopefully you guys will visit the place. Or if you really want to know, you can probably look it up online right now. But this is the center of the universe as far as they're concerned over at Mission Control, JPL. And that's where the hub of activity is when the launches and landings are taking place. This other room is hosted by this man here. His name is Jim, and Jim supplies peanuts to everybody who walks in the room. Besides being another amazing genius and having missions of his own and being there for 27 years at JPL, he provides peanuts for pretty much everybody who walks through the door. And peanuts are part of a celebration. It's almost a ceremonial kind of thing anytime they're doing a launch and landing over at JPL. And there's a story behind that, too. I'm going to let you guys Google that and figure that out. But it's something I didn't know. I didn't know about JPL, and I thought that was a really cool thing, and it's something that sort of bonds everybody there. This is a picture of Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Yes, that is the lady who played Julia in Cowboy Bebop, also the director of Cowboy Bebop. And we are sitting in Bob Hicks' chair, where he was during the Mars rover landing, Curiosity, which, by the way, is still on the planet and is still being controlled. The ace pilot who controls Curiosity is probably doing it right now. He was there while we were in the room. I didn't feel comfortable taking a picture of him because he's dealing with some very, very expensive equipment there. So. But he was in the room with us, and we got to see a lot of the stuff actually being done in real time. I'm very grateful to the folks at JPL, and thank you again to Matt Mercer and to Bobak Ferdowski. Look these guys up. Check them out. You'll learn a lot. It's an amazing, humbling thing to have some sort of understanding of what these guys do. They're geniuses, and they're taking us off the planet and out into space, where all of us love to hang out so often. Anyway, until the next pre-flight, I will see you on the air on Saturday nights. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
So yeah, that was our man, Steve Bloom.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Our man in Amsterdam.
We're going to try and have that be a fairly regular thing. I don't know realistically if we're going to be able to expect Steve to be able to do it every week, but that's the sort of hope.
Yeah, you're gonna hopefully hear from Steve fairly often. You're gonna hear from Dana, who is the voice of Sarah. She's got some segments she's gonna be doing. You're going to be hearing from other voice actors. You're going to be hearing from whoever, people who work here at Toonami to talk about their work. We're just going to sort of have different segments every week. There'll be
Right.
some recurring stuff, like there's always going to be a question of the week, but we're going to just keep trying things, and you guys can let us know. You can go to toonami.tumblr.com and leave us comments about this, or, you know, comment on the boards on adultswim.com where the stream will be, and just let us know what you think of this broadcast and anything you want to see on here or don't want to see on here.
Except for us, you can't vote us off
you're
the
stuck
island.
with us, sorry.
This week's Bloom Room kind of just pisses me off, though, because it makes me just think of the Toonami NASA piece that we did.
Oh, yeah.
That I really wanted to go to, and I asked Jason and Sean, I really want to go on this piece.
Don't lump me in with that. That was all Sean's decision, not
And
mine.
I said, I'll carry anything you want. I'll do anything you want to do. I just want to go on the thing. And both of them said,
No.
we really want you doing your own pieces. I was like, that's totally cool. Just on this one, I'm peeing, I'm carrying
Sean
stuff.
told me to say that.
Totally. And you should have gone on that. That seems like something that you
I
would
do
have
remember
liked.
that.
And I wanted to punch them both in the face. But I do still have my astronaut macaroni and cheese that Jason was so kind to bring back for me. And I think it was only karma that they got stuck in the elevator at the launch pad.
We got stuck
and they
in the
all thought they
elevator.
were going to die. So joke's on you.
We got stuck in the elevator on the launch pad 600 feet in the air, and we're in there for 20 minutes and thought we were going to die with the astronauts in a tour. And then at the end, I remember asking the astronaut, Robert Kerbeam was his name.
Beamer.
I asked Beamer, does that happen a lot? Because that was terrifying. And he was like, yeah, it happens all the time. And I was like, and aren't you guys worried about it? Like, wouldn't you ask NASA to fix it? And he was like, I mean, my job is to have a rocket lit under my ass and send into space. I don't really care about an elevator. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you're
You're an astronaut.
You're an astronaut.
We
and
have
I'm a
different
total
expectations out of the safety of our day.
But I will also say that I did ask if you could come, and Sean wanted you to stay because you were too important to the operations of Toonami.
Yes.
So
Moving on.
Don't be hurt. So yeah, the other thing we asked you guys was to submit we are lucky enough at Toonami to have fans who want to make their own versions of promos. So we asked fans to submit their best promos. We're going to show two of them that we think are, exceptional, and sort of talk about them afterwards. And if any of you guys want to keep sending us promos, we'd like to do this more. We'd like to show your AMVs. We'd like to show your promos. We'd like to even, if you guys want to talk about a show and send us something funny or amusing or something interesting, we want to use this segment to sort of do that, because one of the best things about Toonami fans is how totally engaged they are and how they love making their own promos and are like, we have a lot of like artistic fans, and I think it's amazing, and I'm happy about it. So the first one is an actual it's a fan-made Kill la Kill promo for this coming episode.
Yeah, which is...
It's a topical.
I don't know if that was coincidental for them or for us, but this feels very much...
They did it on purpose because they knew it was coming.
So
and
this feels like the topical we honestly probably should have made and be airing this weekend.
Yeah, when you guys watch this promo, we think this is basically about as good as a Toonami topical promo for an episode would be. So this is a promo for Kill la Kill episode 4, which airs tonight. So check it out. So yeah, that was...
I love that the ratings block is on there too.
Yeah,
like that's like straight up legit that we should be airing. So.
Yeah, you would never know that's not a Toonami promo.
Please, when you submit your fan videos, make sure to tick the box that releases all rights to us, so we can steal your work and pass it off as our own.
We may at some point, though. I mean, in all seriousness, we may at some point put these on TV. We've never been able to do that before. But this particular person, who I can't believe I didn't write their name down. So if you are the person, please comment and let us know who you are. And next time we're going to call you out.
But in a good way.
But in a good way. They use Toonami music. They use the current Toonami graphics. They cut an episodic promo like we would do. Like it feels
it
legit.
makes you want to watch the show without giving away too much of the actual show, which is always the tough part about a topical.
Yeah. You might have a future in editing.
Keep it up.
Person.
To be determined.
So the next one, why don't you talk about the next one?
So this is actually a teaser campaign for a co-production that we're thinking about launching, and we just want to see.
No, it's not.
No, this is just somebody's. What do you remember? Did you write this person's name?
No.
So
hold on. I'll put. You know what? I'm going to pull up my Twitter.
Find out
account
who this is, but it's a custom animation mashup of two beloved cartoons. I guess we never showed one of them. We're trying to not give away too
Yeah, we
much.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Just show it.
So cue our other fan promo.
Sugar. Spice. and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little warriors. But Professor Briefs accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical Z. Thus, the Powerpuff Z Warriors were born. Using their ultra superpowers, Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo have dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil.
Powerpuff Z Warriors.
So we cut away. And ironically enough, her name was on the ending card.
But
we also cut away.
We
from.
cut away from the end with her name.
So,
wait, just put it back up. Let's put it. I wanna get back and put that up. So Rachel ES, would you move the thing away, Sean, from the? Okay, Rachel ES. Thank you, Rachel ES, for Powerpuff Z Warriors. Great. We thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that I said that it was not a Toonami show. Jason reminded me that it was. Will you do the Smucker's voice?
Saturday night, Toonami gets a little sweeter. I used
one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, I used when we did a promo for Powerpuff Girls when it was on Toonami on the Midnight Run, and I wanted to do the voice of the guy who did all the old Smucker's commercials. Smucker's! And that's an inside joke for people who've been watching Toonami for a long time. But so we're going to put both of those promos on the Toonami Tumblr sometime, Saturday night. So if you want to go there and check them out and give props to the people who sent those in.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody who sent stuff in. Just because we didn't show it doesn't mean that we didn't think it was great.
No, keep sending it, keep sending it, and we want to do this every week. But for now, I think that wraps up the first Toonami Preflight.
So get ready for flight and some undetermined period of time. But Saturday night, midnight, 3:30 a.m.
Toonami, check it out.
Tune in.
Tune in next week for another episode of Preflight, where we'll again do sneak peeks of what's coming up. We'll have some new segments and give you a nice hour-long thing to lead into Toonami. Thanks for watching.
See you. Welcome to another episode of Toonami Preflight. I'm Gil Austin.
I'm Jason DeMarco.
And today we're going to be talking Pokemon, a little niche show that we're trying to introduce into the world.
Small show, just a small one.
Some of our favorite anime made for children's. We have a sneak peek for a game review for Fallout 4, another minute entity in the world. We have a Bloom Room Q&A episode, and we have a Dana You Tweet Me Watch where she watches Gunsmith Cats.
She watch.
But up first is Pokemon with the accent. Did you at one point catch them all?
Gotta catch them all. No, I've never caught them all.
No, I thought you had.
Nope, not in game form or toy form. I've caught many. I've never caught them all. They keep making more, so I'll never catch them.
I thought at one point you had caught them all, and then they released more, and then that's when you were like, "This
No,
is."
I was thinking about catching them all, and then they released more, and I said, "Forget it, I'm not catching them all."
Do you, from time to time, still catch some?
No, I when I was going to Japan a lot, they don't really sell them in the U.S., but Hasbro Japan, I guess, sold these little sort of 1-inch. Highly detailed Pokemon toys, and when I would go there, I would buy 10 or 15 of them because they were like $1 each. I would just buy a bunch and bring them home just for fun. And I think the excuse I used at first was for my daughter, who was young at that time. And then she was pretty clearly just like, I don't care about this. So then I just started putting them in my office.
So you just decided 300 might be the way.
So now I have probably 200 of them. And then I sort of stopped because they kept making more. And I wasn't going to Japan to buy them. And I didn't want to buy bootlegs or buy them over eBay. There was a healthy bootleg Pokemon toy business on eBay where I thought they were legit, and I bought like a lot of 50 or whatever, and I bought it, and it was like, you've seen them, they were like these busted ass, like the paint was wrong. Yeah, it was Pokemon. But so then I just stopped because it was getting to be a bit much. But I have indeed played the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 Pokemon games. I haven't played the newest one. Very much enjoyed the formula, very much enjoyed the game and the toys. I have here on my microphone Gengar, who's my favorite Pokemon. That's actually a stuffed animal I got in Japan. But so yeah, Pokemon, I like it.
Premiered in '96, arguably slightly larger entity of anime than Toonami, but I think it's because they got a 1-year jump on us. If we'd been 96 instead of 97.
That was pretty fast that it was. I mean, I remember it was like 99 or 2000 or 99 when it was like airing on our local WB station in syndication, because I used to watch it in the mornings because I found it very relaxing. I used to watch it before I went to work at TNT. Actually, so that would be 97.
Yeah, so...
And into 98. I used to watch it when I got up in the morning, like eating my cereal. Be like, I wonder if Ash is going to catch this guy. Go get him, Pikachu. And then go to work.
And then 300 episodes later.
Yeah, and then it just exploded. I mean, it was the game, I think, that drove it. It was because the game, I believe when it came out, the game was a hit like right away. And when it came to the U.S., it had already been a huge hit in Japan. And Nintendo Power magazine, which was big at the time.
I was a subscriber.
Did a feature on it, and it ended up being one of their biggest issues ever. And it was like clear from the very beginning that they had hit some sort of nerve. You know what I mean? The idea of kids being able to train and collect their own little cute, basically pets that could be their buddy that they could then fight.
Yeah, that's the dream.
So, but Toonami never aired the actual series. We've aired one Pokemon series. We
had Pokemon Chronicles,
which was a spin-off, right?
Yeah.
So we aired the spin-off. We never aired the original because Cartoon Network was too slow on the jump to get on it. And by the time Toonami was on, it was like a huge hit already.
Yeah. If it had been a 2-year difference, I think it would have made...
Yeah, it would have ended up on Toonami. But we did get some of the movies and some of the other stuff. So Pokemon, all right, so let's rewind. Everyone knows what Pokemon is, but for the 5 people who are listening who might not...
There's no way anyone's watching this.
It's about a kid named Ash, and he basically travels around with his friends, Brock and Misty. This is the original crew anyway. And his Pokemon Pikachu, who is his buddy / attack dog, and they go around and battle other Pokemon trainers to become champion Pokemon trainers. So basically, it's a sports anime with monsters that fight one another, but usually the monsters are super cute, and it's like there's always a little bit of a life lesson involved, at least for the first 200 episodes or so. There's like a life lesson involved. There's Team Rocket are the bad guys, and they're not even really bad guys. They're more hapless idiots who never win.
Dastardly bad guys.
They never work anything out. They never win. They never are a real threat. They're just like the idiots who get in their way. And half the time, our main characters don't even know Team Rocket were the people causing them the problems, but they don't care anyway. So that's your basic story. But basically, it's just a vessel for introducing cute new monsters. That's really all it is. And the same thing with the game. The game and the show parallel each other pretty closely in terms of the types of Pokemon that you can bat, water type versus fire type. Like the sort of strategy of the game is in the show too. So we showed Pokemon the movie 2000, and we showed Pokemon the first movie. I think we showed another Pokemon movie. We've shown like a couple Pokemon movies when Toonami was on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So let's look at a couple of our Pokemon promos so you can see how Toonami treated Pokemon.
Every Friday at 5, Toonami's breaking off movies for the masses. This Friday, in his quest to capture Lugia, a greedy collector has disturbed 3 legendary Pokemon. The balance of nature is out of whack, and it's up to Ash to set it straight. Pokemon the Movie 2000. This Friday at 5. I'll be there.
That's the one where Ash dies, right? Like that's the final one where he just.
I don't remember. The Pokemon movies.
The
Pokemon movies are weird because, like a lot of anime movies, they're cyclical. Like there's one every year, and they're usually out of continuity or almost always out of continuity. And so the stakes are always like, nothing's going to really happen. But then they have to make it like a big deal. So they've introduced new Pokemon in the movies before, like Mewtwo or Mewtwo or whatever this is called. They've introduced new Pokemon, and there's always like, oh, it's gonna the end of the world. But, you know, it's Pokemon. By the end, it's always going to be like,
it's going to be okay.
All right, let's go up the hill and fight another guy. So here is Pokemon, the first movie, our Toonami promo for that.
Every Friday at 5, Toonami's breaking off movies for the masses. Next Friday, science has finally gone too far. A prehistoric Pokemon has been cloned and is out of control. Can Ash stop Mewtwo from stealing their Pokemon and taking over the world? Pokemon, the first movie, next Friday at 5. Don't fool with Mother Nature.
That is borderline impossible to read Pokemon, the first movie.
Yeah,
in the
totally.
Old English font.
Our Old English font wasn't working out so well with Pokemon. So yeah, but how did you ever watch Pokemon, Gil, or play the games?
I played the games. I didn't watch the show all that much. I like the games. I don't know, I guess I was not watching it in the morning, eating cereal, coming to work.
Do you have a favorite Pokemon game? Do you even remember what any of them are called?
Yeah, what is it? Diamond? That's the
Diamond is
the
one.
DS one that was like
Diamond and Pearl.
like
a while
maybe?
ago.
99?
And there's Emerald and Ruby
and Emerald,
Red and Blue,
yeah.
and Gold and Silver, and like there's a million of them.
I think Diamonds and Pearls was my
I'm
favorite.
gonna go old school and say Red. So you didn't watch the show that much?
I didn't. I mean, I was aware of the show and I've seen it, but I've probably seen 50 episodes, maybe not that many, 30 episodes. I would watch it when it was on, but I would never if I happened to catch it.
I like how for you that's sort of not really watching a show that you've seen 30 to 50 episodes.
Well, when it's like 700 episodes a decade worth of
still.
Like I wouldn't.
I haven't really seen it. I've only watched about 20 hours of it.
I don't know I don't know all the different Pokemon names. I'm not good with remembering names of things. 10 years on. That's not where my specialties lie.
Where do your specialties
I don't
lie?
know. I'm still trying to find myself, but
let me know when you do.
Maybe one of these days.
Yeah, I always liked it because it was so relaxing, and it did impart good lessons, and it was pretty heavy on humor, but always of a light, nothing cruel. You remember then there was the big scandal with the way that the rate at which Pikachu's lightning flash. So then in the U.S. it got all these headlines for causing people to have epileptic fits.
A decade later, it's still like
people are still
don't play this game if you have epilepsy.
Yeah,
and people are like, what?
Yeah. But I remember that was sort of...
That was a huge thing for Cartoon Network, too. They was like,
we
got to look through all our shows.
Yeah, we had to look through all our shows.
This is cutting too fast.
Dragon Ball. That anime, it was all like, oh, those Japanese cartoons. Like, it was a big, stupid American thing. But I want to show you my favorite moment in all of Pokemon, which I found very relaxing at the time and still do now. And that is, let's just play it. Oh, sorry. Hey, wake up. The thing that Jigglypuff does, who you just heard, is Jigglypuff's Pokemon power is that she sings and puts everybody into a blissful slumber. So, like, it's hard to attack or fight Jigglypuff because Jigglypuff just sings the song and puts your ass to sleep, which I think is a hilarious and awesome power. Yeah,
to have. Let's fight. Wait.
Well, hold on. Oh, so and then it's like, that's the weird thing, is like Jigglypuff is so sweet, and then Pikachu's like attacking and shocking Jigglypuff, and all she wants to do is like sing a sweet song.
That is what I liked about Pokemon, is that it would be horrifying
in real life.
Wasn't actually like
in real life
cute, but it's cute, so it works out pretty well.
Very Japanese.
Yeah.
So moving on to our question of the week, which was, what's your favorite anime made for kids? So, in thinking about this question, we arguably could have said many shows we've discussed a billion trillion times, like Dragon Ball, et cetera, et cetera. But we tried to pick shows that we hadn't talked about a lot on this show. So if you have a favorite that you think is blindingly obvious that was on Toonami, it's probably because we've already talked about it, that we didn't choose it. So with that caveat...
Or we hate you.
Yeah, or we hate you. So with that caveat, I'll start my list of very easy choices with... Number one kids character, I mean, not number one, but in top 5 in the world, Doraemon or Doraemon, depending on how you want to pronounce it. He is less known in the U.S., but obviously in Japan is a massive cultural phenomenon for the last 40 years. He's just a deeply ingrained part of Japanese culture at this point. Probably second only to Hello Kitty as far as just a character that all Japanese people grow up with and know. So Doraemon was created in the 70s. Of course, it was a manga, and then it hit the air. I think the first series was in 79, and it was a flop. And so it went off the air for a while and came back in the 80s, and then that one was a huge mega hit. And it exploded into, all kinds of merchandise and everything. There were 1,700 episodes of the original Doraemon. 1,700. And then, 2 years ago, it ended and they started a new one, which that one is currently airing on Disney XD in a sort of Americanized form and is still doing very well. But... So there's been probably 60 or 70 Doraemon video games. There have been billions of dollars of Doraemon merchandise. So Doraemon is about a robotic cat from the future that is sent back in time to help this kid with his daily problems.
God, that'd be so awesome.
And basically, his ancestor wanted to send him help because he screws up his life in the future and burns down a factory or something. I can't remember it's like, you screw yourself up. So here, let me send you something from the future to help you out. And he wanted to send him like a real mecha, like a giant robot that would really help, but all he could afford was like a crappy little cat robot. So he sends back Doraemon. And Doraemon has these tools from the future that he busts out on occasion, like, portable holes and like all kinds of stuff. It's always like a different one every episode, and they don't usually come back, and they don't usually affect the world other than that problem they're trying to solve that episode. But fundamentally, it's just a cute kid show about a kid has a problem, and the main character is like a lot of people say that one of the reasons Doraemon became such a huge hit is that the main character just has no special abilities or huge problems. He's just like an average kid, and so it made it super relatable is what some of the theories are. And Doraemon is just a cute, lovable character who kind of gets into trouble but is always good-hearted. So I'll show you a clip. I didn't really find a clip of the show. There's a decent amount of episodes in Doraemon available because out of 1,700 you're going to find some. Not as many as you would think given its huge popularity in Japan, but it never crossed over here. So I had a hard time finding a good clip, so we're just going to show a shitty promo from Disney XD, so check this out.
The new season of Doraemon is gonna be...
Action, 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 action.
That's just 20 seconds. Doraemon Season 2 premieres Monday, June 15th at 1 on Disney XD.
So yeah, they're calling it Doraemon, which is cool. That's closer to the Japanese pronunciation. So yeah, people aren't super mad. It's a super Americanized version, but people aren't super mad at it because I think Doraemon is so embedded in Japanese culture. The jokes are so deeply Japanese that for it to work over here at all, you kind of really have to rejigger it, in a major way. And I understand it's doing pretty well. So despite their terrible promotion for it, it's doing well. So congrats to Doraemon for finally cracking the U.S. beachhead, and hopefully it becomes huge here because he's delightful. So that's my number one favorite anime made for kids. Number 2 on my list, there were only 26 episodes of this show, but I really like it. It's called Sherlock Hound.
I didn't know there were. I thought there were more than that. It's not.
Unfortunately, no. So Sherlock Hound is a show that was weird. It's got a kind of a weird checkered history. So it's a co-production with an Italian studio and a Japanese studio. And it's obviously a retelling of Sherlock Holmes, but with animals, talking anthropomorphized animals. Miyazaki directed and worked on a bunch of episodes when he was still doing television. He did it right before and during when he was developing Nausicaa. So it was like 1982. He worked on like 5 or 6 episodes. And then the production shut down because they ran out of funds and didn't come back till 1985. The show didn't air till 85. It was started being made in like 81. And then it aired and did well, and it's actually, because it's an adaptation of Sherlock Holmes, I think that allowed it to be adapted into more languages, and sort of it's been floating around for a long time. There's not a lot of shows from this era that aren't huge popular shows that made it over the pond, but Sherlock Hound did. You can get them all on Hulu in English. I think that there's been a box set released, so it's out there. It's pretty wonderful. It's definitely a goofier adaptation. Obviously, Moriarty is sort of an inventor / he's less of like a mafia don like he is in the books. He's more of like a Team Rocket. He's like a goofy idiot who can't get it together. He's a genius inventor who invents all these steampunk devices and comes up with these crazy elaborate plans that Sherlock always is like, well, it's got to be Moriarty. Only he would want something this stupid. Like, you know, they always kind of know it's him. And it's got Lestrange, the inspector. It's got a lot of great Sherlock Holmes characters. So let's check out a clip. I think this is one of the Miyazaki-directed episodes. They're all also on YouTube, by the way, in English officially. So go check them out. And here's a clip. Yeah, you know, you can see by the direction and certainly some of the designs the Miyazaki influence. And it's one of several TV shows he worked on pre him being just a movie director. So I'd say it's worth checking out. And then my third choice, in another blindingly obvious pick, is one of the most popular cartoons of all time. Certainly probably you could say the most influential anime of all time, Astro Boy. Also Mike Lazo's favorite anime, seminal for him, as with so many people of an elderly age. But yeah, we have 2 life-size Astro Boy statues here at work, thanks to Mike Lazo, who bought them from the Astro Boy Museum. So Astro Boy premiered in the 60s in Japan, obviously, and was the first sort of popular anime. Like, it was somewhat the template for what anime looked like afterwards. It was that seminal. It was one of the first ones, and certainly one of the first popular ones. It was created by Osamu Tezuka, who is often called the Disney of anime because of his sort of just massive amount of influence he had and his incredible popularity of his work at that time. He created it as a manga, and then it turned into a TV show. And Astro Boy is basically a robot that was created by a scientist whose son died. The scientist decides, well, this robot can't replace my son because he can't really feel. And he gives up Astro Boy to the circus. And then another doctor finds him and realizes he can feel. And basically he becomes a superhero, and they solve crimes together. And he ends up getting a sister and a brother and like a family. But he's a robot who has superpowers. He has all these, he can fly, he has super strength, he has machine guns in his hips, which I always thought was a weird place to put a machine gun, but I guess it'd be better than a machine gun in his dick, I guess. But so
given the choice.
So Astro Boy, but he's fundamentally good. Most of the time he fights. There was a fight every episode, so it was definitely an action show. Most of the time he fights evil robots or aliens. Very rarely does he fight humans. Sometimes he fights,
except for the original scientist who he hunts down and murders.
No, that guy comes back every now and again and upgrades him. Like, oh, how you doing? Oh, here, now you're stronger. Like, but it was black and white. It aired for like 190 episodes or something, a long time. And then there was a reboot in the 2000s. Was it 2000?
Might have been.
Yeah, in the early 2000s, there was a color reboot, and that made it to about 52 episodes and went away. And then since then, there's been that CGI one. So I think Astro Boy is just going to keep coming around. The manga was reprinted in its entirety by Dark Horse about 10 years ago. I collected a whole bunch, and then I finally just sort of quit because I had too much other stuff I was collecting. But Astro Boy is wonderful. Tezuka's a genius, so there's really not much I can say about Astro Boy. But we'll show you. We at Toonami did have the privilege of airing the color Astro Boy. Did we air all 52, or did we only air 26?
I think 26.
Yeah, I think we only aired one season of the 2 seasons, but we were psyched when we got it, and here is our promo for the reboot of Astro Boy.
In the year 2000, a brilliant scientist created the ultimate machine. A thinking, feeling robot with the power to save the world. Now, Earth's only hope against evil is a little boy with superpowers and the soul of a hero. Toonami presents the most legendary anime series of all time, Reborn, Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy, premiering Monday, March 8th at 5. Boys don't cry.
Boys don't cry. Who wrote that one? Do you know who wrote that promo?
I thought you did. If
Maybe.
it wasn't you, it was
maybe.
Dennis.
But yeah, so Astro Boy classic. If you haven't seen it, you should bone up on your history and give it a whirl because it's a wonderful show and it's got some ass kicking in every single episode. So those are my favorite kids anime. Now over to Gil.
Yay! The best part of the show. Up first, equally as maybe
just talk.
So my first show is one that we have dragged through the mud to a certain degree, but only because of how it was positioned, and that is Hamtaro, but it's actually a really good show for kids, I would say.
Yeah.
And since we talked about it before, I think we're sort of just move forward through it, but I think this spot is funny, so it's really just an excuse to watch our Hamtaro Toonami promo again. Let's check it out.
Toonami presents the story of a rodent with mad skills. Saving the world one hamster at a time. Hamtaro. Monday, June 3rd at 4. Big things come in small packages. Only Toonami.
That's our little FU to the people who made us show it. If I weren't excited, I'd be confused.
But a fun show, cute, little kid show.
You like hamsters.
Hamsters.
Do you like hamsters in real life?
Take them or leave them. Like as a classroom pet, sure. Would I have a hamster like cage and wheel and tubes and things? I don't think so.
Gotcha.
And yourself? Where do you?
I've never liked rodents. They never liked me. I've been bitten by every rodent I've ever held. Been bitten by a guinea pig, a hamster, a rabbit, a rat, and then I was like, okay, rodents and I don't get along.
Maybe it's your holding technique that you need to.
I mean, some of them I wasn't
alter.
holding. It wasn't me. I mean, it was me. It was me, but I wasn't. You know, it must be.
Yeah,
they must know that I have a rotten soul or something. I don't know.
The electrical field that you give off that destroys.
Other animals love me, rodents not so much. So
fair enough.
Unfortunately, I can't enjoy a guinea pig, even though I love them.
Hamtaro, would you watch that with your small child?
Yeah, I thought Hamtaro was a great show. I mean, it was just not a Toonami show,
right.
And it was very frustrating to have to put it in the middle of between Dragon Ball and Tenchi or wherever the hell it aired. It just was totally inappropriate for Toonami, but they didn't know what else to do with it. And so it was more the stupidity of the decision that stuck in my craw. The show itself is great. It's cute.
Yeah. So next for me is spoiler related to all Toonami shows. Is what we in America know as Card Captors or Card Captor Sakura. That seems.
Is that not a picture of Card Captors?
I think that's a later, not from the show, but it's art. But anyway, we aired Card Captors. We only ran it for a month. Kids WB got it in 2000, and they got the sort of it got the dub take on it that's just sort of smoothing out all of the sort of what were considered rough angles,
Right.
but weren't really. But it gets kind of messy. There weren't nearly as many episodes. So the dub's not great, but the show is good. We have our Toonami promo here so we can check it out and do some additional research.
For Sakura Avalon, life was all boys and schoolwork. But an ancient book hidden in the basement has changed everything. When the cloud book opened, the world felt its fury. Now, Sakura and her friends must defeat the cloud cards one by one before they destroy the world. The greatest sorcerer on the planet is a 10-year-old girl, and the only thing scarier than battling the cards is doing her homework. Card Captors, Monday, June 4th at 5. All in the cards. Kids love it.
Did these premiere on Toonami around the same time, Hamtaro and Card Captors? Because we used the same graphic, or was it just that it was a younger skewing show, so we...
I don't remember the thinking. I mean, it definitely was the same package, but we used Kids Love It, which was the Midnight Run look.
we were confused.
Dennis made this, and I think
Dennis made the promo, and Dennis hated that show, I recall. He was super mad about having to do a promo for it.
I think he did.
What is this, dude?
I can't remember who did the Hamtaro promo, but I think he may have done that one.
Yeah, I don't think he was happy about it.
So eat it, Dennis. But no, that show's good. Check it out. I would watch the sub and not our dub. Not our dub, but the one that we read.
Well, slow down.
The one that we showed.
Right.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Card Captor Sakura is, I think, a very lovely show for kids and combines a lot of children's show sort of tropes into one entertaining stew.
I've only seen 2 episodes, so...
Did you like
your word for it? I don't remember. They didn't leave a big impression.
Fair enough. And last, for me, this would be a show that I would really have gotten into if I were watching Toonami when we put it on. Like if I were that age kid, and that's Zatch Bell. Because it's sort of pushing the violence angle a little bit, but in a totally harmless way. And it's sweet and it's funny, and there's action, and to your Pokemon, I mean, to your Astro Boy point, like there's a fight every single time. So it is in, and we aired it for a little over 2 years, and we only got halfway through the show.
A lot of episodes, man.
But here is our original Zatch Bell promo.
Kyo was just an ordinary genius. His father sent him a mysterious birthday present. Now this little boy, Zatch, might be just the friend Kyo needs. The Momotos don't destroy them. Zatch Bell. Premieres Saturday, March 5th at 9:30. Open up and say, only Toonami.
Cool. Open up and say,
Yeah, that was me. And then I wrote all those topicals, and then that's how I sort of decided that it was a show that I liked, that I wrote 100 spots for it, and I enjoyed them. So it was,
What's the basic plot?
So
I've only seen like 10.
Kyo is, I think he's 14, and he's like a super smart kid, and his dad is off doing like Indiana Jones archaeological research, and he sends him Zatch or Gash in the mail. And there's a 1,000-year Momoto battle, or a Momoto battle every 1,000 years to find the king of the Momotos, and they're sort of getting into that fight now. So in the Kyo accidentally stumbles on Zatch's fire ability in the first episode, and then they find the spell book, and then they realize that they're supposed to go around and fight other Momotos.
What are Momotos?
Those are the little guys like Zatch. So it's basically Pokemon style, where it's like you have a little alien creature, humanoid person who has some sort of
Chucky
power, and they sort of form an alliance with the good guys, and it breaks down. It's kind of a Highlander thing where there can be only one, but up until the end, you can.
Got too complicated.
So
I just wanted the Cliff's Notes version, man.
There's a lot of episodes. That's the deal.
Evidently.
So yeah, Zatch Bell, check it out. I enjoyed it.
Great choice.
Kid show.
Great choice.
So now let's check out some of the Facebook choices for our question of the week. With starting off with Toonami's Facebook with Metabots. I don't know about that
Samurai
one.
Pizza
Cats.
Digimon and Pokemon, of course.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, of course.
Yeah, so...
I would say the choices one would expect. Metabots being number one surprises me. I'm not surprised by Samurai Pizza Cats. So let's go to the Adult Swim Facebook and see their choices for favorite kids anime. So we have Hamtaro, number one. Yes. Digimon, Pokemon. Unico, which is a wonderful old school cartoon that's super sad and depressing. It's one of the most depressing cartoons of all time, but Unico is a very cute character. And then the Hello Kitty anime, which, fun fact, I showed my daughter when she was young and she became obsessed with it. And so she watched nothing but that for like a year. So I know that anime really well, the Hello Kitty anime, the 80s one anyway, or maybe it's 90s. So thanks for sending us your votes for favorite kids anime. And of course, we'll post a new question of the week coming up pretty soon.
Up next is our sneak peek for tomorrow night in the 12:15 block. It is for our review for Fallout 4, and this...
Say 4 a few more times.
Why would I do that for?
You said this up next is for the 12:15 for our review for Fallout 4. Got 4 on the brain. That's all I'm saying.
Let's check it out.
Tom, you're almost at capacity. Store some of your weapons.
But I like carrying 11 guns. Who needs food?
Are you listening to yourself? Plus, you only use 3 of them. Why do you need 10 Batmans?
What if I need to fight something big?
You have 9 suits of power armor. Don't you think you're hoarding a little too much?
I like collecting stuff. Can't be too careful.
In case you didn't know about the hoarding references, Tom and I are talking about Fallout 4.
Which is amazing and huge and super fun. And gives you a lot of freedom on how you want to play.
Like if you want to have a collection of 8 missile launchers you'll never ever use, you can.
Exactly. Also, don't forget the legendaries. And now you can tinker with your armor, improve your weapons, create settlements.
Because who cares about a story when you have an inventory advantage?
Basically, you've survived the bomb, frozen in a vault.
Someone's stolen your son and killed your spouse. But for some reason, Tom's mostly concerned with flannel shirts.
Okay, point taken. So, you're looking for your son, and you're exploring the Commonwealth, and all the people to meet, things to collect, ghouls to kill, and people to talk to. Plus, locks to pick, more things to collect, and a ton of side quests.
Eventually, you have to choose which major faction to support.
Not to spoil it too much, but not everyone gets along. So you choose who's in power.
It gets pretty glitchy here, especially if you want to support the railroad.
Yeah, I had to replay a bunch of the game from an old save to get the ending I wanted.
Which is another lesson in the wastes. Save often.
If you like giant RPG / first-person shooter / hoarder, and making and tinkering and fixing stuff, this game is pretty great.
And if they fix the glitches, it'll be even better.
Toonami gives Fallout 4 a 9 out of 10.
It's an unarmed robot.
Could have armed himself. Ooh, bottle caps.
Nice.
So yeah, sort of born out of my OCD.
Yeah, your sociopathic OCD ways you play games.
Video games. Like.
Awesome.
And now is Dana's take on Gunsmith Cats, which I think she felt like there were going to be more cats with Gunsmith Cats. I think she might have.
I know. I think Gunsmith Cats is awesome. So
Primrose Path. So
I'm not super concerned if there are actual cats in it.
I think she was. Let's check it out.
That's a literal, literal way to look at it. But yeah, we can check it out.
Cool.
Hey everybody, it's Dana, and on this very riveting chapter of You Tweet Me Watch, I got a ton of great recommendations, actually a lot of recommendations for the same show, Gunsmith Cats. So very special shout out to @MangaMan9000, @Dexter11344, and @Toonami. Also, special thanks to Jason D and Steve B for your signal boosts. Yay! So, Gunsmith Cats, what are we talking about? Our backdrop is mid-90s Chicago. Gunsmith Cats is a weapons shoppy run by Raleigh Vincent, the muscle car enthusiast and firearm whisperer. Also a bounty hunter, but one that knows right from wrong. Like Babe Fett. It's a good joke I thought of. The partner, May Hopkins, is an explosives wizard and may or may not be a child. I don't know, you tell me.
There.
Now, here's where things get a little political. They're dog and pony, but no cat show. There's really no cats in this. Isn't quite legal. In order to get this operation up to snuff, they've got to pull some favors for the ATF to hopefully get a license. Now, if this isn't timely, I don't know what is.
If I fly tall enough, one day I shall receive a business license.
Raleigh, May, and Becky Valentine try their gosh darndest to take out Pew Pew runners and other baddies for cheesy ATF investigator Bill Collins. Their methods? Straight shooting, leet haxering, makeshift explosives, and Tokyo drifting, Chicago style. Now, while there's some government corruption at play, there's also blatant polluting of a crime scene. Have you people ever even watched Making a Murderer? Some of my favorite quotes. George Black saying, here's one from Raleigh. We learned a lot about how licensing a business works. So this is a show for entrepreneurs, for people who hate high heels, people who like underwear parties, for fans of Death Proof. Gunsmith Cats, what's the verdict? I really loved it. Super fun. Thanks for recommending this. You guys know me so well. It's a spinoff of a show called Riding Bean, so I'm looking forward to checking that out next. My biggest complaint is the misleading title. There are no cats anywhere. So here are my cats in people clothes. He's a special agent. This is what I did on my Friday night. I went to Target and I bought baby clothes for my cats. I love you, Toonami. Here's your credit sequence. If you have any further recommendations for pre-2K anime or for games, please hit me up on the twits. I'm at Dana is a girl. And you're great.
So just bring your own cats when there's no cats.
I guess if you really love cats, it might not be the show for you.
I like it.
I like it too. Absence of cats notwithstanding, which is a valid point.
Sure. And
maybe
finally,
I think it means more like cats, like
hey, cat,
hey, daddy, oh, which is pretty crappy anyway.
Sure.
So they should lose points for that either way.
That may be one of the questions that Steve Bloom answers in this episode.
Oh yeah, that's
Bloom
right.
Room
He's doing a
Q&A edition.
Q&A. Steve asked you guys questions on Twitter mostly, and you gave him some great ones. And so this is Steve answering some of your questions on this week's Bloom Room. So let's check it out.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Bloom Room. It's been a while since we've done a Q&A on the Bloom Room, so here we go. First question comes from @GaryTheNeutral. Do you think Starscream might make a good co-host with Tom for Toonami?
Yes, I certainly do. Not sure how much room there would be in the cockpit, but since we're off the ship, I suppose there's room enough for everyone, isn't there?
@Hinaru777 asks, there was a sequel to an anime series that you loved, like Cowboy Bebop 2, Gurren Lagann 2, or GTO 2. What would it be and why? Wow, probably any of those. Cowboy Bebop would have been interesting, not necessarily as a sequel, but maybe a prequel, because I kind of love the way it ended, even though it was really sad. But I really would have liked to see some more of the backstory, especially about Jet and Faye and all of us, really, on the ship. Oh, and there's a second question here. What was your favorite scene or line from The Intruder 2? Tom says, when he sees the intruder, man, I make a really crappy bad guy. That one just made me laugh. @ArtThomas167 asks, hey Steve, curious, how'd you start voice acting? I started voice acting when I was a little kid. Like most of you, I made believe a lot. I like to pretend as a little kid. I like to make crazy voices. And so I think I really started when I was very young, not even knowing that it was acting. I didn't even know that I was acting until I was probably in my 30s, when somebody pointed out to me that after I had been in like 10, 12 animes, that I was actually acting at that point. So, but I had started that process many, many years before. @Hurtberg Samurai asks, if you could write and direct your own show or game, what would it be about and who would be in it? Well, it would probably have lots of creatures and be set in space, and I'd probably hire all my friends. Any more specific than that, we wouldn't have any more time today. Here's a good one. @Cinepresto asks, best footwear for voice acting? Socks, shoes, bare feet? What's the most comfortable? A dilemma here. I hope that's the most difficult thing you have to deal with in your whole life. I wear Crocs, actually. I have these Crocs that kind of look like normal shoes. They look like that, but they're Crocs, so they're super comfortable. I need support on my feet because I stand when I record. Some people sit, so it really doesn't matter what they wear. And there are people like Michael Sorich and Jason Marsden who almost always take off their shoes, and they always have these awesome socks. So that's a fun way to go too. But my preference is to wear something super comfortable that I can stand in for many hours at a time. Let's see. Oh, there's a second question from Cinepresto. Which fictional sci-fi weapon and or device do you wish were real from video games, movies, and comics? Ooh, wow. That's a tough one. I'm just going to go personally. If it's a weapon or device that I wish was real, probably Wolverine's claws, for starters, just because I thought that was kind of a cool thing, albeit painful, but I actually have a set of them somewhere around here, and I don't know where they are right now. So if I find them throughout this interview, I will hold them up and show you. But I always thought that was just a cool thing to have around, and it's handy. It's like a knife. It's there at your disposal all the time, so I don't need a big weapon to do a lot of damage. Okay. And, to tell the truth, I'm a really peaceful guy in my real life anyway, so I wouldn't be carrying weapons around for the most part. Unless you piss me off. Back off, bub. At Docklergang101 asked, was there ever an instance you had trouble voicing a certain character in the past? If so, which one? This one right now. Because I'm not feeling real great. I wouldn't say that I had trouble voicing characters in particular as far as the acting goes, but Wolverine was specifically very, very stressful on the throat. So I would say that one probably hurt more than most. And as far as just voicing certain characters, there was one that I just did in a show this week that I can't talk about. And I ran through the character 5, 6, 7 times because they were trying to develop what they wanted for the character. And the following week I came back and I was replaced by another actor. So if that's measuring the level of difficulty, I suppose that would be the most difficult one as of late. And I can't even tell you what it is. But that kind of thing happens once in a while. No big deal. At Nerd Girl Sabrina asks, both you and Tom at the end of Intruder 2 got new homes by the end of 2015. Any tips for him to make it feel more like home? Well, I already got Sarah there, so far so good. That's really all I need. Just me and Sarah. All right, all of you. 1, 2, 3. Aww. Not much into decorating. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We're going to continue next week with part 2 of the Q&A in the Bloom Room. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
And we are also out of time for today.
Yeah, I might have a question for Steve next week. We'll have to ask him. You guys should too, by the way. Just hit him up on his Twitter, at Bloomspew, and ask him questions that he will answer. But I think that wraps it up.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed another episode of Toonami Preflight, and we will see you each and every week.
Thanks.
For the end of time. Hello and welcome to our 47th episode of Toonami Preflight. I'm Gil Austin.
I'm Jason DeMarco.
You seem very excited today to be here.
I think when we get to 52, we're going to stop counting the
episode numbers. Then it's going to be season 2, episode 1.
It's just bugging. It bugs me that we do that every time. But I think when we get to 52, that's a year, and then we just say, "Welcome to a new episode." Once you have a year's in, once you have, it's like a kid.
We are 47 weeks old, and we are. But then you'd go up to like.
I don't believe in that. I had a kid, and I think that's bullshit. Once your kid's over a year, they're a year. You just say,
kind of a year.
A year. Well, I mean, why does it doesn't have to be that specific. The markers for growth aren't that specific after a year.
Okay.
Trust me, I have some experience.
Well, no. I mean, you seem very specific about it, so I'm just letting you have it.
I am.
Congratulations.
As a dad, I learned about it.
Good. I'm sure all the other parents disagree with you, but
not all of them. There's
Sean
one in the
shaking his
room.
head,
He
yes or
agrees
no?
with me. Yeah,
Just what are you saying?
he agrees.
So okay, sweet. So
Gil doesn't believe unless there's a consensus. He does everything by consensus.
No,
including lunch, sandwiches, whatever.
I think that there's a reason why
around the room.
certain people feel a certain way. You guys certainly feel another way. I
Yes.
don't give a shit at all.
Common knowledge is not always right.
I think we're off to a good start here. So today we're going to be talking about animated music videos, specifically some of our favorites and your favorites. And first off, we're going to take a look at Daft Punk's Interstellar 5555555. Is it 5555? Is it 55? I've always said five. A series of fives.
5555. I don't know why.
But then I always
it's even
forget.
called that.
Like by the time I get to, it's like a secret
in the movie, but it's like
but
5.55 in the movie. It's not 5555 in the movie. Like in the it's a diary or it's a book.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 point. It like I wish we should have pulled up the screenshot, but it's weird.
Thanks, Sean.
Well, he didn't know we were going to talk about it. This movie came out in 2003.
And we premiered, well, we showed the first three.
First four.
And then world premiered the fourth, right?
I believe
the
it's
first
actually
three were,
it was the third and fourth that we world premiered because they gave it to us. I remember when they reached out to us, they were like, we had previously shown the first one because we didn't call it the Midnight Run, but we just one night showed music videos. Yeah. Not a lot of people remember that. They remember the one that we advertised, but we did it once before and we didn't advertise. We just dumped some music videos.
Yeah, and it was one more time that we just ran, and then we decided to do that one more time.
Yeah, and so then we knew we were going to do it again, and I think we had to talk to the record label for permission, and they told the band, and then the band said, whoa, well, why don't you show the next three? And the first of those next three had already premiered, but the next two, including Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, had not premiered at all. And so then they made those little Toonami things, which we've shown here before, like watch it on Toonami. And then the whole movie in pieces was on Jetstream.
Yeah, did you know, when you were having the conversations with them about getting more material, did you know that they were going to make it as one long movie? I can't remember.
I didn't find out until we talked to them. I saw the first video and thought they had just done it for that video, and then when we talked to them is when they said, oh yeah, we're doing a whole movie, but they were coming in pieces. Like the movie was not delivered to them as one piece. I think it was delivered to them as chronologically the songs, like
in track order.
Yeah, Leiji Matsumoto, who is the legendary director of Star Blazers
anime series of all time that we've never talked about.
Captain Harlock, which is a huge. Evidently, looking into this, Daft Punk grew up watching Harlock, and that was the big, and Galaxy Express 999. So those were huge influences on them, and they wrote this whole story, which we can talk about after we show the clip, and went to Matsumoto Leiji, or Leiji Matsumoto, depending on how you want to say it, and asked if he would be willing to animate this story, and then they just sort of let him do his thing. Really unusual, and the fact that they got their record label to pay $3 million to make an hour-long anime movie, and that was only their second album, so they were nowhere near as big as they are now. Like, their first album had one kind of somewhat known hit song that was on MTV a decent amount, but nothing like. I'm still blown away that they were an up-and-coming band, and that was the music business in 2000, where you could just be like, yeah, give me $3 million, we'll make a movie. Like, that just would not happen today. I just don't see it happening, unless it could happen with a band that could afford to self-fund it. Like Arcade Fire could do it, but not like a up-and-comer.
Yeah, just to convince your label.
There's no way. They don't have $3 million to blow on.
To never be able to recoup ever.
So, like we said, Toonami showed it in 2003. Part of our Midnight Run special edition, created a bunch of new Daft Punk fans happily. So let's show our promo for that Midnight Run, and then we'll take a look at the clip from this movie and then talk about it a little more.
Been a long time since we brought the noise. Thought we'd drop some beats and some of them bang. Friday, August 31st at midnight, we're breaking off a full hour of animated music videos in a Midnight Run special edition. We got the first 3 Daft Punk videos and the world premiere of 4. plus all 3 Gorillaz videos, including plays, and Toonami videos you've never seen before. Ain't nothing changed.
I wonder what
Ain't
Toonami
nothing changes. An odd choice of line.
We're still the best, basically. But what? I wonder what Toonami music video premiered in there.
Yes, some never before seen, which wasn't just one.
Something we cut together. I wonder what it was.
I'm sure people watching know.
So let's look at a clip from the movie. The movie is a musical. There's no talking. There's very few sound effects. It's literally just the album, the Daft Punk record, in progression, basically animated. So just check out. This is one of the songs. I like it a lot.
Calling the signal for him.
So pretty awesome. As you can see, the plot is created by Daft Punk. The plot is basically there's a group of aliens and they party down on their homeworld, and there's an evil overlord who lives on Earth who kidnaps and enslaves them, reprograms them so that their memories are that they think they're Earthlings, and then makes them look like Earthlings, and then pimps them out to make money off of them selling records. It's a pretty elaborate scam.
It's pretty much the record industry, I think.
But yeah, obviously it's their comment, which is funny because, again, they were still a rising band, and they're like, ah.
And they got someone to give them a shit ton of money to make it. Well done, Daft Punk.
But yeah, so then it ends up that they, through a series of events, they realize who they are, and then it's nice. The Earthlings, once they find out, they defeat the bad guy. Once they find out who the band is, they make a rocket and like send them back to their homeworld, which is pretty optimistic.
Rock and roll.
And then they have another rock and roll outer space battle, and it ends with them back on their homeworld. But pretty fun movie.
It's not highly available.
You can buy the Blu-ray. I own the Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray is like a weird up-res of a DVD. Like it's like a fake ray. Like it's so
green ray.
I would almost say just track down an old DVD, because the DVD release is a legit release. I have no idea why you can't get it digitally or anywhere else. I think maybe Gil and I were theorizing that maybe it's like a rights issue.
When it's some on YouTube, but it's the kind of thing where it's like they're constantly pulling them down, so it's whether you can catch it.
And I'm just happy that they did this, because again, they blew up so huge, but they were just paying tribute to their roots. And I think when it came out, a lot of people thought these videos were really cool, but a lot of press, I looked back at the press for the time, and a lot of them were like, whatever, weird ass animated crap. Like, you know, you can totally tell people that are down with animation or people that aren't. But like, it always weirds me out when someone's just like, I don't know, I don't like animation. Like, you don't like an entire genre of art? Like, wow. So yeah, Interstellar 5555. We have never shown the whole thing on Toonami. Maybe one day we will, but either way,
if you own the rights, hit us up and let us know.
You can watch it right now on YouTube, on Daft Punk's YouTube channel. So I guess they care enough to put it up there. So let's move on to our favorite animated music videos, which came off of us wanting to talk about Interstellar 5555.
Yeah, so we try and link the questions with the shows.
We kind of look like we're really in the.
It does. It's a good.
It's like Tom's.
It's a good composite.
That direction.
I'm just gonna go get my new arm.
Just hold on, Tom.
And so we wanted to just talk about some of our favorite animated music videos. Obviously, talking about Interstellar 555. So up first, once I start saying 5 after 2, I don't know how many I've said. It's somewhere between 2 and 7, and I just say 5 until eventually I stop, and maybe I hit it. It's
5 shmeh.
Big whammies, no money. Up first for me is the Heartless music video for Kanye, directed by Hype Williams. That it was a highly rotoscoped trip through Kanye's apartment and an homage to American pop. This came out in 2008.
Sounds good to me.
I'm going to go with 2008. So let's check it out, and then we can talk a little bit about it.
Whew.
Yeah, so the extended version is available online after. But I really like the way that looks, and I think it very much speaks to what Kanye's artistic style is, and it makes me feel happy for them. It seems like it would have been a huge pain in the ass to be involved
Looks
in.
like it would have taken a while to work out.
If you got to shoot a Hype Williams music video and then roto that and animate a whole nother music video.
It's a lot of work.
I guess Kanye's got a good work ethic, doing it all himself, just in the lab. So next for me is Pearl Jam's "Do the Evolution," which came out in '98. So let's
that long ago.
check this out. Yeah, it premiered on 120 Minutes when that was a thing.
Nice.
I love that video. So that's co-directed by Todd McFarlane, and I always mess up I always want to call him Steve Altieri, but it's Kevin Altieri of Batman the Animated Series fame. So yeah, it's crazy that's 2 years after, or 1 year after Toonami started.
That is crazy.
But yeah,
That video was a big deal. Everybody watched it when it came out.
I know I did. And we just rewatched it, and it was great. Up last for me is another video that everybody watched when it came out, mostly because if you were in sixth grade and you had MTV, you saw this video 900 million thousand times, and it is Aha's Take On Me.
Classic.
I thought we talked about sketching us into this. It would be the pencil version of us. For the back. Anyway, let's check out the video. A lot of sweaty dudes in that video.
That's why it's one of your faves.
So those are some of my favorite animated music videos. Would you like to talk about some of your favorites?
Sure.
On this, our 47th episode of Toonami.
I'll talk about some of my favorites. So the first video I want to show is hilarious. Might be my favorite music video of all time. It's Is Tropical by the Greeks is the name of the group. They're sort of not really a group of note, but this is a cute song. It's really more about the video, and I think that in the way that many of the best music videos somehow embody the essence of a song and sometimes transcend the song or allow the song to transcend its own sort of mediocre qualities, a really good music video can hone in on an unspecified sort of element of a song and just make it something more than the sum of its parts. I think the best music videos can do that. I think that's ultimately what every music video director wants to do, to either do justice to the song or even to elevate the song. So this idea is just a great idea that the song doesn't get in the way of. So let's check out the video and then we can talk about it. So yeah, pretty awesome.
I always have the exact same reaction when I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what my child. And then the first kid eats it and you're like, oh.
I think this video has it really does get at the way that at least boys anyway, or kids in general, play with the idea of violence. When you're that age in suburbia, running around with your friends and imagining killing each other, which I certainly did when I was a kid, chasing your buddies with your water pistol or your Nerf gun, and in your head you've got this whole thing going on that looks so different from what's actually happening. I love that the adults are just in the background, because it's just obvious that it's these kids using their imagination. I read a thing with the directors, Megaforce is the directors, and they shot it over 2 days, 2 4-hour work days in France, and they told the parents we're going to animate blood and stuff, but they didn't tell them they were going to go quite so bananas, but the parents were there the whole time, and the trap house scene and all that, they just thought it was funny. And the kids that they used, they asked him, did those kids know what that was supposed to be? And then he was like, yeah, they're not, stupid. They're kids. They're not dumb. And, but they just had a blast, and the parents liked it. And that guy on the grill is the grandpa of one of those kids.
Oh, it was actually his grandpa?
Yeah.
That's great.
So I just love that video. I think it gets at the heart of something that I did in my childhood, and the animations
still do to this day.
The animation's gorgeous, and there's definitely there's an Akira nod in there I really like. So yeah, Is Tropical by the Greeks. My next music video, and that was from, I think, Is Tropical's from 2011, so it's fairly recent. My next video on my list is older. It's from all the way back in 2003. It is by the group Junior Senior, and the song is called Move Your Feet. And this video, pixel graphics and pixel art were coming in, but this video was huge, and I really think this video helped kick off the pixel art sort of movement in a bigger way. It was all animated on the Commodore or a Commodore emulator. You know what I mean? Like it was animated on an old school animation program. But I think, again, the song is great, and it's a really catchy song. Junior Senior are, to me, nothing special as a group, but this video, again, embodies the fun spirit of the song in a way that elevates it, and it's just one of the most fun music videos I've ever seen, so let's check it out. Junior Senior, Move Your Feet. Big hit back in the day, and I think their only hit. And my next favorite animated music video is from
your favorite album of all time,
the group Tool, who I like Tool fine. Some of our Toonami co-workers sort of ruined them for me by overplaying the ever-loving shit out of them, namely one Sean Akins Esquire. But this animated music video is awesome. It is for their first hit song, Sober, and it's stop motion, and it's heavily influenced by some guys I really like the brothers Quay or Jan Svankmajer, like sort of masters of stop motion, weird animation. It's really unsettling, but just beautifully done. So let's check out Sober by Tool. So emo. Gross.
The feels.
Those are some of my favorites. And then, because I've done some animated music videos, produced several, and have an interest in the form, I thought we could highlight two of my favorites that we have put out that people seem to like. So very quickly, I was honored to be able to make a video for the late, great Jay Dilla for his song Nothing Like This from the Rough Draft EP, one of my favorite Dilla songs, and he is my probably absolute favorite beat maker. So this was directed by Daniel Garcia, who's a friend of ours, and his company, they're called Boss Creative now. They were called Super 5 back then, I believe. So check out Jay Dilla, Nothing Like This. That was super fun to work on. It was, we did 3 videos all at the same time. We did one for a Mad Villain song, and then we did one for it was a Quasimodo song. So it was when we did Chrome Children. So I called Daniel and was like, I got X amount of money. I need 3 music videos, and
the money comes in bunches.
I got 3 music videos in 2 months. Let's do it. And he was like, yeah, I'll do all 3. And he had at that point not done many music videos. So then when I had to do a video for the next song, Killer Mike's Reagan, when I needed a video for Reagan, I knew that I wanted to reach out to Daniel again. This is now 10 years later. And he did this amazing video for my favorite song from the Killer Mike album, Rap Music, Reagan, which I'm happy to say has the most YouTube hits of any of the music videos we've done together. So check out Killer Mike's Reagan. Very proud of that video. Yes, so let's great job. Let's take a look at your favorite top 5 animated music videos. Let's look at the Adult Swim Facebook page. And that is Feel Good Inc., Gorillaz, of course. Aha, Take On Me, nice. Gil Doing Work. The Music Scene by Blockhead, which is I think that's Anthony Shepard. That's a great video. Interstellar 5555, excellent choice. And once again, Gil, Pearl Jam, Do the Evolution. Did you just go on here and make your list?
No, but I'm going to do that in the future because that sounds like a way easier process.
Seems like they are on the same wavelength as you when it comes to animated
I'll just
videos.
have to edit out King of the Hill every now and then. But
so let's take a look at our Facebook top 5, Toonami Facebook top 5 animated music videos. And Interstellar 5555, of course, Gorillaz, Melancholy Hill, Breaking the Habit, Linkin Park. That is a good video.
Yeah. And you're a huge Linkin Park fan, don't forget that.
Freaky on a Leash, Korn, get out of here. And come on, do better. And then Kanye West, Heartless. So Gil heavily represented in this group.
3 for 3, baby. Count it.
Well done, Toonami and Adult Swim Facebook pages. So let's move on to this week's sneak peek. And
this is a video game review that Dennis did for a game called Galaxy. And
it looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely just
makes me want to play.
I was just going to write the whole thing right now. But yeah, let's just watch it. It'll be better.
With all the new games coming out, this one may have slipped under your radar. Part Asteroids, part Sinistar, Galaxy the Dimensional is a super fun space shooter with a whole lot of anime flavor. You play as ATAC, the last remaining pilot on a desperate mission to save a crippled star carrier. You gotta be quick on the trigger, and even quicker on the stick. And when your shields go down, you better get out of dodge. Survival depends on finding chests and collecting lots of scrap. Don't sleep on it, because upgrading your ship is critical. Eventually, you'll be able to really up the firepower. It's the Galaxy now. Careful though, even in Macross mode, you'll still only get one life per 5-episode season. One mistake, and you'll lose it all. Crash and burn. This style of gameplay can be pretty frustrating. It's not for everyone, but it's my kind of party. We give Galaxy a 7.5 out of 10. Here we go again.
Looks fun.
Yeah.
I want to play it on my phone.
We're not pooping. Too much precision.
And we have another sneak peek that we're going to run tomorrow night. That is a piece that was sent to us for the Akame ga Kill Blu-ray.
From our friends at Sentai.
Sentai would like you to see this, and we would too.
Check it out.
It's a good show.
Akame ga Kill on Blu-ray and DVD. Own it. From SentaiFilmWorks.com and fine retailers everywhere.
Fine retailers.
A haberdashery near you is also selling Akame ga Kill.
Yeah, but if you like Akame ga Kill, support it by buying the Blu-ray. Support Sentai for bringing it over here.
Yes.
And keep watching it on Toonami. So now we're going to get a new episode
to the greatest part of the show.
One Man's Trash. The man being Gil, and the trash being whatever
also
bullshit he's doing.
Oh.
So here's some bullshit Gil did.
Hit it. Welcome to another edition of One Man's Trash, where I do something that's both annoying and usually pretty pointless. Today I'm playing through all the situations in Rainbow Six Siege and trying to get 3 stars on all of them. Now this is a really pointless task because you don't get any benefit for doing it, and you don't really get any more experience for having 3-starred them, which makes it perfect for One Man's Trash. Rainbow Six Siege is pretty much all multiplayer, so if you have a group and you have headphones and you're a team and you're playing, I can see how it's a lot of fun, but that's not how I play, so I pretty much stuck to the situations, which are fun, but ultimately not as much fun as like a single-player campaign would actually be. The situations are sort of part tutorial and part single-player. There's not a campaign, they kind of tell a story, they're sort of warming you up for playing each of the different operatives, but it's once you do it, there's really no real reason to do it over again, and it's kind of a bummer because Rainbow Six single-player has always been super fun. But all of that aside, today we're here to get 3 stars on all the situations. The stars usually break down to 1 being associated with the operator itself, so using some sort of special power that they have in some way, and then killing guys in a unique way like grenades or through a door or something like that. And then there's always 1 that's finished the level with 50% more or health. You can play the situations on normal, realistic, or hard. But playing on normal is kind of silly, because what's the point of banging your head against the wall if you're just going to play on normal? But that said, I also have other things to do too, so I played them on hard. And if you want to get all 3 stars, basically, the ones that are the operator specific and the killing guy specific, that's not that hard. If you do them 1 or 2 times, you usually get that. But sometimes getting the 50% health one takes a while, and it just basically boils down to you playing the level over and 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 over again until you can sort of figure out the pattern where the guys are, and then sometimes you still got to get lucky on top of that. The 10th one, Heavily Fortified, gave me the most trouble, or I guess took the most time. It wasn't that much trouble, but there's a ton of guys. There's some of them who are the bomb guys who blow themselves up and are weirdly wearing a bomb suit, which doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. You basically have to storm a house with guys ready to kill themselves, grab a hostage, and split. After I'd done it about 20 times, I got to the hostage, had killed everybody who's there before they magically appear once you grab the hostage. So I grabbed Jason to come in, and I needed an extra set of eyes and ears, so I just slowly made my way around and got shot at a couple of times, got super freaked out, killed a bunch of people, and then thought there's, of course, one more asshole waiting in the back to jump out. But it turns out there wasn't, so I calmly shot this helicopter to pieces while I waited for the mission to end. But it didn't stop there, because when I got the trophy pop that I was looking for, a secret mission opened up. And I figured, since Jason's telling me that I have to play this one, otherwise this one doesn't count, I thought it might be fun to play that one. It's basically sort of a tutorial to get you into the multiplayer mode, or the terrorist hunt aspect of the multiplayer mode. But you can't be part of a team already. You can't have a group set up. You have to get into matchmaking. And the first time I had got matchmaking, it was a weird connection, and it did the thing where you're like... But anyway, I got another round, and it was pretty fun. And I was like, oh, maybe I will play this terrorist mode. This is kind of good. And then one of my guys shot and killed me, and I sat on the floor dying and died. And then nobody revived me, and I sat there and watched these guys play for another 3 or 4 minutes, which was super boring. And now I remember why I don't really like playing Terrorist Hunt. And eventually, finishing cinema comes up, you get another achievement, and voila! One Man's Trash Special Edition. If you have an idea for One Man's Trash, hit me up on Twitter @StupidGill, and I'll figure out a way to waste all of our time.
Well done.
Thank you for your help and your assistance. It was very stressful. 5 minutes after getting the hostage.
I can tell. I can vouch for it was not an easy challenge to pull off,
and it was totally pointless.
Well done.
For a game I didn't even really like.
That's the ultimate One Man's Trash. You may have achieved peak trash. Just, it's a game you don't really like that was pretty hard to pull off the achievement, and you got literally nothing for it. It might be the Ne Plus Ultra of One Man's Trash.
I'm glad we were all here to experience
Ultimate
it together.
Trash Edition.
Speaking of which, that's it for us today. So we will see you Saturday night, midnight to 3:30 for Toonami, and we will see you new episodes of Toonami Preflight on Twitch
and
TV.
Twitch.tv/AdultSwim or AdultSwim.com/
Okay. See you there.
Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Toonami Preflight. This is our 46th episode, our second of 2016, but the first one we've ever recorded in 2016. So if you're a numerologist, I don't know what any of that means.
A lot of caveats.
There's also a lot of cameras in here now, and I'm not 100% sure which one to look at, so I'm going to look at the middle one because that's how I'm going to do it. How are you, Jason? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm doing good.
Nice. Today we are going to talk Prince of Tennis. And in a very smooth segue, we're going to talk about some of our favorite sports anime. We have a Sarah-edited music video. We have a world premiere Animal Collective music video that will run to Toonami as a sneak peek. And we have a Bloom Room that is going to be a mystery to...
Hot off the presses.
Us, but not you, because it'll be done by the time that it gets to you. So let's jump into some Prince of Tennis. With our
Prance.
New graphics package that looks sweet.
Prance of Tennis. Look at that handsome young man.
You talking about me?
No.
Oh.
You're an old man.
Oh. But still handsome?
Oldman.
Still handsome?
Well, it depends on who's looking, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I accept.
Your wife thinks so.
Don't joke about my wife. So, Prince of Tennis, we acquired as part of Toonami Jetstream, which we sort of had... some stuff to do with, was not
they kind
entirely...
they kind of asked our opinion at the beginning, and then we're like, we got it from here, like the usual. So we did not Well, I think they asked us about Prince of Tennis.
Yeah, so we aired Prince of Tennis, and
for like 1
it was
week.
like maybe we skipped a bunch of episodes. We aired it for like 9 minutes, and then
the
masses spread.
I liked Prince of Tennis. I don't know that anybody else at Toonami did, but I like the idea of trying to move into showing sports anime. I always wanted to show an older show called Slam Dunk because I thought it would make more sense for our audience, basketball rather than tennis. But
sure,
an option came up for Prince of Tennis, and I think that was one of the few times they circled back with us during that era, and we're like, should we show this? And we were like, well, it's a huge hit in Japan. It was 2006, and I know the anime had just ended in Japan, but it had 178 episodes. It had been around since 2001. The manga went for like 10 years, and I mean, it was a massive hit in Japan. There's multiple video games. Even at that time, there were movies. So it was like a big phenomenon in Japan. But of course, I'm not sure, but I believe tennis is a slightly more popular sport in Japan, or at least it's not competing with the number of sports that it would be competing with American audiences, for attention.
Correct.
So,
I would say that's correct.
So we thought, well, let's try it. And Jetstream put it on, and it was doing pretty well on Jetstream. And then it was really cheap, so they were like, throw it on. But they didn't want to start at the beginning, which is always a bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little bit of a weird thing when it's like, this is a show that we've had some relationship with. Where do you want to start? And it's always like, the beginning? Question mark? And whenever it's like, no, not the beginning, it's always a weird...
It's hard. It's not usually a recipe for success, although once in a while I think there are exceptions. But so Prince of Tennis stars a kid named Ryoma, and basically he's a child prodigy tennis player. And the thing that's funny about Prince of Tennis to me is a lot of the other sports anime, they start with a character who's sort of learning how to play the sport and getting better, and it's much like the hero's journey in any action show. It's like, they're kind of some kid from a small village who
fall into a tennis robot and magically they can pilot it.
But this series starts off with him being, I think he's like 12. He's already a total badass who has no fear or self-doubt at all. Like I went back and rewatched some of the earlier episodes to refresh my memory because it's been a while since I've seen it. And it's just hilarious to me that like the entire first arc is just him being like, psh, get out of here, to like everyone.
And I wonder like if that's a conscious decision based on tennis, because tennis is so much more of like you're really good as a kid and eventually like you burn out pretty fast.
I mean, I don't know.
But it's like...
I think some of that might be the way they chose to approach. I mean, I think...
Or is it just all tennis players are douches? Or...
I think, yes. I think there's two ways to approach a sports anime. I think there's a way in which you approach it and you don't worry so much about digging into the sport itself, like in a realistic way. Like, you don't worry about teaching your audience, essentially, if they don't know about tennis, what the rules are, and like you just assume they kind of, if they're watching it at all, they kind of know a little bit about tennis,
or it doesn't matter,
and then you just invent your own shit, or you sort of literally teach people about the sport and try to create somewhat of a realistic scenario as to how someone is so good at the sport. Now, sports anime don't usually go the latter route. They normally go the super heightened. That's what I love about sports anime. I don't even really like sports that much, as you know, but sports anime, what I love is that they heighten the reality so it's like a Dragon Ball episode, so that a dude can like hit a ball. It's like, yeah! And having made a sports anime, IGPX is basically a sports anime. I know how hard it is to create tension week to week when it's like, you can't have your hero lose all the time. Or it's not realistic that anyone would care. You can't have him win all the time, and this is the Friday Night Lights thing. You can't have him win every week, or it's boring. You can't have him lose every week, or it's not realistic that anyone would give a shit about them. So it's this constant push and pull of how far can you make it look like they're going to lose, but still have them win when they need to? And it's just hard to create tension in the viewer's mind that the team might actually... Because it's like, is the main character going to die? Like, it's the same dichotomy.
Should we task Peter Berg with creating an anime?
Yes, Peter Berg, please create a tennis show. Actually, don't. But yeah, so Prince of Tennis, it didn't do well at all. It tanked. Our programming department unceremoniously yanked it very quickly because they were like, no, I don't think they really believed in it anyway. I think we kind of lobbied like, let's try it out. And then they were like, okay, you can try it, but you're going to run it. You're going to run this episode.
Yeah. And it was at the time when Toonami Jetstream it's the classic Turner like soft launch. We don't want to put too much into it, but we want to support it. So we need to talk about it on air, but it's two different things. So it's just kind of a weird time.
And then it was pulled and stayed on Jetstream for a while, and then was pulled on Jetstream eventually as well. And it wasn't the only sports anime on Jetstream. iShield 21 was also on Jetstream, which I had totally forgotten about until I went back and looked up the different Jetstream shows. I didn't forget about one of my ones. Lucky you. But yeah, so Prince of Tennis.
Do we want to show our...
Yeah, let's show our... So when it premiered, we premiered it at the same time as Mare because both of those shows came on Jetstream. So this was like our Jetstream block moving on the air. I mean, honestly...
This was our Lucky Sevens version of Jetstream.
Honestly, this was kind of ahead of its time because now that's what people definitely do. They push people from on-air to online and back.
Trendsetters.
And we were doing it a long time before anybody else.
Before you could make money off.
So here's an example.
Two young warriors battling great odds. One on the court, the other in an evil fantasy world. First they were on Jetstream. Now we're putting them on Toonami. Out the Prince of Tennis and Mare. Premiering Saturday, December 23rd at 10 and 10:30. Game, set, mace. Only Toonami and Toonami Jetstream.
Yep.
Also a tough time to premiere a show on Christmas Eve and expect it to really have much legs.
Yep.
Nice job.
So Prince of Tennis, we're sorry we didn't do right by you, but it also might be that American audiences don't really want to dig that deeply into tennis.
Yeah.
Children, anyway.
People don't even watch actual tennis that much.
Yeah. So moving on to some of our favorite sports anime.
Our question of the week.
We've got a lot of good answers. Thing about sports anime, I find curious that there's not been a sports anime that's really caught on in the U.S. And, I mean, obviously one main reason is because if you're a sports fan in the U.S., you're watching sports. And if you're an anime fan, it's probably there's a good chance that you're an anime fan because you don't want to watch sports. So I think in the U.S., anime is not such an embedded part of our culture, and therefore an anime treatment of a sport
doesn't cross as many.
Yeah, in Japan it's like
demographic lines.
In Japan it's like everybody watches anime, young, old. They're always reading manga or watching some kind of anime. So there's definitely a likelihood that you could be a basketball fan and an anime fan. But in the U.S., I think that there's much less of a crossover. And then, of course, some of the anime that become sports anime that are popular in Japan are even sports that aren't that popular in the U.S., like tennis or soccer or what have you. So there's a rich tradition of sports anime in Japan, but they almost none of them are available over here in any significant way, which is a bummer because I really like the fact that they'll take something which feels so American, like football, and you'll see the Japanese treatment of it, which isn't necessarily at all accurate about the football, but definitely feels like modes of storytelling you're used to from watching anime, like in terms of the hero's journey and stuff. Like, it's just fascinating to see like the same techniques where normally it's like
the fate of the world.
Yeah, it's like,
it's the fate of your 9th grade soccer team.
Yeah, and I actually love that. I think that's great, and I wish that more anime fans would embrace this sports anime. But at the same time, I get it. You know, you're not watching sports anime because you don't give a shit about football, because the whole point of you getting into anime was because you didn't want to be watching ESPN. You wanted to watch these cartoon guys beat the crap out of each other. I feel that. So anyway, just a little curious thing.
And that's it for today.
You know, we ourselves did that. We made a sports anime. It was about giant robots, and we thought that would carry the day. We were like, what if we did F1, but it was giant robots? And it turned out most people weren't that interested. I just think sports
Some
anime...
people were very interested.
And then some, yeah. So I just think sports anime are going to have a hard time in the U.S. So let's talk about some of my favorites, shall we? So my first one I have been sort of a fan of for a long time. I heard about it first in the 90s, and it's called Captain Tsubasa.
Raise your hand if you remember the 90s.
It actually premiered in the 80s. It premiered in The manga's been in print pretty much continuously since 1981. I think the latest one just ended in 2013 or something like it. It's been going since the 80s. It's a huge, huge series in Japan. It usually comes up in the top 100 anime of all time kind of lists. And soccer is obviously, aside from baseball, the biggest sport in Japan. So for a Japanese soccer fan, Tsubasa was like your anime because it sort of, took everything that you liked about anime and put it up against your favorite sport. And it also has been translated into many, many different languages around the world because obviously everywhere around the world loves the shit out of soccer except the U.S. So, of course, in the U.S., you can't really find Captain Tsubasa. You can't buy it. Nobody gives a shit about it. But everywhere in the world, it has been a hit show except the U.S. So there's probably 30, 40 video games of it over the years. You can go on Amazon and there's new, old, any era of game from just about any system in Japan, but they're all import-only versions, which sucks because I would love to play me some Tsubasa. There's RPGs, which in the 90s I became obsessed with trying to buy an Super NES that was like region unlocked that you could play the Captain Tsubasa role-playing game. Like, I just was so excited about the idea of a soccer RPG. It even sounds awesome to me now just because it's different. But so Tsubasa starts off in the show when he's 11 years old and he's just a total youth prodigy, and it's very much what I talked about, where it's not so much about the realistic ways that people play and win soccer matches, although there's some of that because, of course, there's been countless TV series and movies and everything else. So people have told the Tsubasa story all kinds of different ways. He's sort of aged up as the years have gone on, but he's still always portrayed as somewhat young. But he's a prodigy who just inherently is born to play soccer, and every episode is structured sort of like a Dragon Ball Z episode where he's got to overcome some great odd. There's some climactic moment of him doing some insane move that no one could ever really do in real life, and then he wins the game. And then, of course, it's soccer, so he'll like get traded to another team, and like he'll end up playing for Brazil or the European League, and then he'll play against his friend. It's all about interpersonal drama. So I'm just going to show you a quick clip. You can find a lot of Captain Tsubasa, at least the 80s series, on YouTube, subtitled by fans. I don't think you can legally get it anywhere in the U.S., but since they don't let you get it legally, go watch it on YouTube. That's what I do. So check out this clip. So yeah, Tsubasa's pretty good.
I like that all Tsubasa it makes it feel like the soccer field's like 6 miles long. It's
I love
just
it.
Never ending.
So that's one of my first favorite sports anime. My second has been something I tried to get on Toonami several times and was resoundingly told, get the hell out of this room, by first Sean Akins and then by our programming department, because they were like, no one's going to watch this, which they probably were right, but I'm still mad that I never got to try. So this show is called Slam Dunk, which is one of the only sports anime that made it across the pond and actually got dubbed. I believe that Jenny On dubbed the first 15 episodes or something, not many, but they brought it over in the U.S. and kind of tried to make it a thing, and it didn't really take off. You can still, I believe, watch the whole series on Crunchyroll. There's 101 episodes subbed, but it's a show that basically helped popularize basketball in Japan. So it had a pretty big impact in Japan. It was serialized in Shonen Jump from 1990 to 96. It's one of the best-selling manga of all time. It sold over 120 million copies in Japan alone. It was translated in the U.S. and sold well here. And like I said, the anime ran for 101 episodes. So basically it stars this kid named Hanamachi, and he starts off as a delinquent. So it's kind of like if you imagine Akira, like the characters from Akira, if one of them decided to start playing basketball because he wanted to impress a girl, and then he starts finding discipline and fulfillment in playing basketball and he slowly becomes the leader. There's a ton of comedy, there's a ton of romance, but I really like this sense of humor because he's basically a total idiot. Like the main character, Hanamachi, is an amazing, inherently great basketball player, but he has to fight his own stupidity and learn how to be disciplined and be a leader and work together with teammates. And so it's about him and his teammates and the friendships and rivalries that they form, and him trying to impress the girl he wants to be his girlfriend. And it very much teaches you a lot about basketball. It's sort of the route of like, let's help you understand what basketball is. And the creator of this manga ended up going on to make a couple other basketball series and won some awards in Japan for helping popularize basketball in Japan. So my feeling was always, hey, basketball, it's not like Prince of Tennis or Captain Tsubasa. Basketball is a pretty popular sport in the U.S., second only to, football, really. So maybe we should show a basketball anime. The other thing is the style of the anime. The style of this anime is firmly 90s. I think it premiered in 93 or 94 in Japan. Ran for a couple of years. So it's super 90s in terms of it feels very much like Dragon Ball Z. Like it's like everything's super over the top. It's got all the same types of sound effects and techniques that you see in all the fantasy anime that you might have watched. So I always thought if any sports anime would work on Toonami, it would be this one. But my bosses disagreed with me. So let's check out a clip from Slam Dunk. That's how it works. That was pretty compelling to me. So Slam Dunk, if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. I would probably watch the sub on this one, although the dub is hilarious, but you'll have to switch to the sub at some point anyway. And I think a lot of the humor in the show is very localized, so kind of hard to get across. So that's my second favorite sports anime. And my third is very recent, and that is Ping Pong the Animation, which was, I think there's only 11 episodes. It just finished premiering. But it's created by Masaki, I think it's Yuasa, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but he's a genius who did an Adventure Time episode, he's done a Space Dandy episode, he did Kick Hard, all you Kick Hard fans, and he's done a bunch of other amazing stuff. He has a very, very distinctive style, and he decided to direct an anime about ping pong. So Ping Pong is based on a manga that only ran for like a year.
About to start telling the rules of ping pong.
95 and 90. Ping Pong is an ancient game. So it's based on a manga that was created in 95 to 96 and then became a movie, a live action movie in 2002, which I loved. And I loved so much that I bought these Kubricks of Ping Pong the movie. I fell in love with that movie in 2002, and when I heard about this series, my first thought was, are they making an anime of Ping Pong the movie? And I thought, surely not. But it turns out there's only one manga about ping pong, and that movie was based from the same manga that this show is. So, yep, it's the same story. The movie's awesome. If you ever want to see a movie about ping pong, it's funny, but it's also oddly touching. But it's really good. So this anime is more of the other approach to sports anime, where they don't really tell you any of the rules about ping pong. They don't really worry about that. It's pretty much it follows mostly two characters, Pico and Smile, and their journey through the ping pong championships and their adversity and sort of learning how to be better players. But it also follows their mentors and coaches. It follows a couple of rivals. It sort of shows the point of view of a whole bunch of different characters, and usually an episode will start with a lot of backstory and how each person got to where they are, and then the match is usually the penultimate thing, and either they do or don't succeed based on their experiences. The style of the show looks like nothing else. It's incredible. It's just, if you like animation, it's just worth watching for the animation alone. But you don't really need to know anything about ping pong. It's mostly more about battles of wills between characters. And it's, again, like the movie, it's funny but kind of oddly touching. So here's a clip from Ping Pong the animation. So, yeah, it's obviously amazing animation. So if you haven't seen Ping Pong the animation, you should. It's pretty great. I think it's available pretty much anywhere you could stream stuff. I believe Funimation has it. So that's it for my favorite sports anime. So Gil, if you want to take over.
I will. My first one is iShield 21, which I first saw when we were dealing with Jetstream and sort of figuring out
dealing with
like it was just a lot of shows to go through.
Dealing
and they were
with
just
Jetstream.
It was gonna be. Cartoon Network had a partnership with the NFL, and we would shoot a bunch of players. So it was wrapped up in that for a little while, and ended up not being
It's too bad.
NFL Rush. They ended up going with Nickelodeon. Poor bastards.
Bad move.
But
going with Nickelodeon.
But
Always
iShield did run on Jetstream, and I like the show. I mean, I like football, American football. I like football.
So that's
as well.
an interesting thing to pull out is you're a sports fan.
It's
so
true.
Unlike the average anime fan, you actually are. I think it's been less so as you've gotten older, but you used to be a total sports lunatic. Like I could ask you what was going on with any major sport, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, so and so and so and so." Just that.
So ready to rise to the occasion. I thought you were going to ask me a question.
And you would
buzz
in.
in.
Now you're not as good anymore because when we do trivia, you always fail the sports questions. But you used to like watch ESPN. Do you still watch SportsCenter every morning?
I do.
But you used to watch it more than once.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Like
I used to
Dennis.
have it on in my office,
Yeah.
and like you would
Just let
it loop, and you would watch the same things for hours and
not,
hours and hours.
Not me.
That's
you.
not one would, not you. The second person, plural, one.
But yeah, and you've played all the Madden
specifically.
games, or not all of them, but you've played Madden for many years and 2K and
Yeah,
golf, Tiger Woods. You even played the new whatever they're calling it, Rory McIlroy,
and then he
golf game.
broke his foot playing football, and then right as that game came out, I'm sure he was not
break
very.
your foot playing. Anyway.
He like twisted his ankle.
He was a golfer. So you watch less sports now.
Yeah, I mean, I still watch football. I watch probably less basketball than I used to. I'll watch the playoffs. I don't really watch much regular season. But other than that, it's basically the same. I'll watch college football, pro football. Baseball, postseason.
He used to live in a house with more than one television. So
I once said I would never live in a house that didn't have more than one.
He used to play Madden and then have a
Those were the
TV
days.
for the college games going at the same time.
So it was, instead of picture in picture, it started off picture on picture because we had one big TV and then another TV next to it. Then it was picture by picture as sort of televisions graduated. And I still do that from time to time. When the wife's out of town, I'll hook up the extra TV and come out and play.
She
and
really
watch.
saved your life.
That's true.
You would be the
Totally
most
true.
insufferable person in the world.
Yeah,
if she
I mean,
had
it's
come
pretty borderline insufferable.
Thank you, Ann.
Now.
Thank you.
And this
for
is
saving-
10 years on.
Thank you for making Gil shave and put
Except
away
not
the,
today, but-
the backup TV.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
No,
not to
I
get
just
too
thought
in-
it was interesting because
not to get
you're,
too
you're,
into the weeds. Yeah,
you're
so-
the rare person who actually is a big fan of football and can watch iShield 21 as a football fan or as an anime fan.
And I tend to gravitate more towards the
Crap. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
The
Crap
sort of
end of the spectrum.
hero story growth aspect where it's like it's the shy kid in school and it turns out that he's really great, but somebody's got to help bring something out of him to be great. So iShield 21 we have a clip and it's tough to find, despite the fact that we used to run it on Jetstream, tough to find the dub clips that sort of make any sense. There's a lot of fan dubs that it's like joking fan dubs, and then there's some that are legitimate. But this is a clip that sort of sets up the drama around iShield, so let's check this out and then we can talk about it. So much like Slam Dunk, the big secret play is hand the ball off. But I like the show. It's sort of over the top aspect of football, and that it's and then it also like the slice of life aspect of being in school, and the fact that the shy kid Senna is super fast. It's like his superpower is that he runs really fast, and everybody's just like, fast.
He's a running back. His stars are running back.
And he plays a little split.
How are you going to build a whole show not around a quarterback?
It's kind of a slot receiver. It's kind of Y if you're running.
Quarterback's good enough to build a team around, but not a show.
West Coast offense. Not everybody's got to be the quarterback.
Everybody wants to be.
I guess so.
Nobody wants to be a receiver.
Some people do.
Well, some people are better at it,
I guess so.
You're the football expert.
I never had a very good arm. I was never a big kid either, so not a very good football player. Not the traditional mold of football players. I did not excel.
My coaches did everything. You begged me to play football.
You wasted your physical prowess and farm strength. I
don't think so.
Sitting inside
and my old man strength.
Yeah. Well, then your old man strength as a child.
I was old at heart.
Yeah, so whenever we would go and shoot...
Haven't you seen the movie Concussion? It's a good thing that I missed out.
When we would shoot NFL players for Cartoon Network, Jason would be sort of in the background, and people would always be like, do I know that guy from somewhere?
My worst... Someone told me I look like George R.R. Martin on the internet the other day. That's the worst. You look like this fat slob that I've ever gotten. But the second worst one was...
No, you don't.
The second worst one was at... the All-Star game at the Pro Bowl, excuse me. See, you know how much I know about football. We went
at the touchdown club.
We went and filmed several Pro Bowls. One year at the Pro Bowl, a guy came up to me and asked me if I was Tony Saragusa. And just look up Tony Saragusa.
Goose has lost a little weight. He's trimmed
also up. He is also a fat piece of shit. Which again, I don't mind being compared to a fat piece of shit as much as I mind being compared to a fat piece of shit who's older and uglier than I am. Like all three, like give me a little.
I don't think he's older than you.
And maybe not, but he sure looks like it. I guess that's what you get for ramming yourself into other humans for 10 years.
Yeah, it's not a gentle sport.
But anyway, so yeah, one of the two worst I ever got was because someone thought I was a player. He wanted an autograph. Are you Tony Saragusa? I I get out of here.
Did you sign it?
No.
You just write, go f*** yourself.
Yeah, I should have. I was like...
and then put a number.
I was like, get out of here.
Go f*** yourself, 44. Thanks, Tony. Sports. Go sports. Sports.
Anyway.
So, second up is big wind up.
George R.R. Martin?
I don't see that at all.
Like
that's just crazy.
Is it just any guy with a beard and glasses?
That seems
overweight?
To me... It's not. It's just beard and glasses. It's like
George R.R. Martin has no neck. See that? That's a neck.
I don't.
I like George R.R. Martin.
Yeah. If you were George R.R. Martin, I would tell you to write some books. Get off your ass. But you're not. So we're getting a little sidetracked here.
Sorry.
Big wind up. I picked mostly because Jason hates baseball so much.
This is a big show, though. It's popular.
Yeah, I actually really like the show.
You suck.
Well, be that as it may, I don't think that
really
discounts
do hate baseball.
this show.
I don't hate any sport except baseball, which I really hate. The worst sport on earth.
I like big wind up because
Sorry.
it's kind.
Oh yeah, here pull up a picture of George R.R. Martin. Sorry to. Let me.
Next time, I'm going to bring in a
wear
Greek
those
fisherman.
Glasses. I should definitely
bring your engineer glasses.
Yeah,
I'll bring a Greek fisherman hat that my wife Annie got for her father's birthday.
I mean,
and then gain 400 pounds. Don't shave for like a year, except for your 9th grade boys baseball team mustache that I myself have, and then grow your hair out.
I mean, and George R.R. Martin, dude,
and wear only suspenders.
I love your work. I'm a fan. I just, and I don't think I'm the most handsome man on earth, but I don't want to look like George R.R. Martin.
You don't. Well, I think it is a good goal to not want to look like George R.R. Martin.
He looks like Santa became a train conductor.
Is that the plot for Polar Express? I never saw that movie.
I don't know. The George Express. Anyway, all right, big wind up.
It's going to be a
baseball bullshit.
A little bit long show today.
Let's do it.
Big wind up is kind of the slice of life meets Bull Durham, which is what I like the most about the show.
Why? In what way?
On top comedy? With a little icing of Bad News Bears. So Bull Durham side is.
You mean Major League in this analogy? No.
No.
Or is there more Bad News Bears than Major League?
Now you're just showing your ass.
I'm not. Bad News Bears, they're more like little kids that are rambunctious as opposed to
Major League is
pieces
more
of SHIT.
Right. Major League, also a hilarious baseball movie. But
does it have Bob Uecker?
Drinking uncontrollably the whole time. The sort of plot of this show is that the catcher is really good, and much like Major League and also Bad News Bears, sort of, and Bull Durham. But it's the building of a team and the sort of manipulation's not the right word, but the formation of and putting people in the right positions and playing to everybody's strengths and coming together as a team is what I like about Big Wind-Up.
How is it new? It's newer.
No, it's like 7 years old.
So
it's
not as old as Tsubasa, but not.
No. I think it's like 08 was when it was on in Japan. There is a dub that was on Funimation. I'm honestly not sure if it's still on Funimation or it's not on Crunchyroll anymore.